Stay connected with Track Alerts TV by clicking that subscribe button and hitting the notification bell. You'll never miss a moment when we go live, and you'll always be the first to know when we post new and exciting content. But that's not all. Folks, show us some love by liking, commenting, and sharing our videos. Join our community of passionate sports enthusiasts, and let's support our favorite athletes together. So what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and become a part of the Track Alerts TV family today. It's time to take your love for track and field to the next level with the ultimate athletics experience.
Want reach? Advertise with trackalerts.com. More people are becoming satisfied advertisers building their brand online. We know it from start to finish. Trackalerts.com on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Contact us today at info@trackalerts.com or 876-893-4157.
Keep apace with the latest track and field news from Jamaica, across the Caribbean, and around the world. It's trackalerts.com. There is just no other. Up-to-the-minute details, expert views, reviews, and interviews in photos, videos, and features. Track Alerts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Track Alerts TV on YouTube. Trackalerts.com. From start to finish.
Advertise on our live streaming on Track Alerts social media pages, which provides the most prominent online viewership from track and field meets in Jamaica. Your products will be seen by our large audience in Jamaica, the diaspora, and across the world. Book your spot in our live stream for a very small introductory fee. Call or text us at 876-893-4157 or email anthonyfoss@gmail.com. Trackalerts.com from start to finish.
10.29 seconds for Johan Blake. An impressive run.
Hosting a function or event? Want it to be streamed live on Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom? iView365 can help you. We specialize in sporting events, stage shows, funerals, concerts, conferences, church services, graduations, and many more. Call or text us at 876-893-4157 or email anthonyfoss@gmail.com. That's ANTHONYFOS@gmail.com.
Welcome to this week's edition of your Track and Field Weekly Wrap, where we look back on the major highlights, big wins, and key updates as the Caribbean athletes continue their road to Tokyo 2025. Let's start with fireworks from Eugene, Oregon. At the 50th edition of the Prefontaine Classic, part of the Wanda Diamond League, Jamaica's Kishane Thompson continued his sensational season. He powered to victory in the men's 100 meters in 9.85 seconds, outclassing a world-class field. Thompson, who had already clocked a world lead of 9.75 at the Jamaica trials, now cements his place as one of the season's breakout sprint stars. Zarnell Hughes, born in Anguilla and representing Great Britain, took second in 9.91, with Jamaican Akeem Blake placing fifth in 10.03. In the women's 100-meter hurdles, it was all Akira Nugent. The Jamaican led from start to finish, crossing the line in 12.32 seconds, ahead of Nigeria's Toby Amusin. World champion Danielle Williams clocked 12.51 for fifth, while Americans Kendra Harrison and Masai Russell tied for third. St. Lucia's Julien Alfred continued her elite form with a 10.77 clocking in the women's 100-meter, placing second behind American Melissa Jefferson, who edged her with a 10.75. Ivory Coast's Marie-Josée Tallou-Smith took third, Jamaica's Tina Clayton fourth in 11.02, while world champion Sha'Carri Richardson finished dead last in 11.19. In the men's 200-meter, 3 Caribbean men finished in the top 6. Alexander Agando, Dominican Republic, third in 19.94. Jareem Richards, Trinidad and Tobago, fifth in 20.23. Brian Lavelle, Jamaica, 6th in 20.25. St. Vincent's Shafiqua Maloney ran a season best of 1 minute 58.49 seconds for 5th in the women's 800 meter, while Ethiopia's Tsai Dagumo won in 1 minute 57.10 seconds. In the men's discus, NCAA champion Ralford Mullings of Jamaica threw 68.98 meters for second place, just shy of his 69.31 meters PB. Teammate Roge Stona, the Olympic champion, finished 4th with 65.62 meters. In the shot put, Jamaica's Rajendra Campbell placed 5th, with a best mark of 22.04 meters. Brazil's Alison dos Santos clocked a world-leading 46.65 to win the men's 400 meters hurdles. Jamaica's Asani Wilson and Malik James King finished 7th and 8th. American Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone looked flawless in the women's 400 meter, winning in 49.43. Jamaica's Dejania Oakley placed 5th in 51.45. In the women's long jump, Akira Smith of Jamaica reached 6.67 meters for 6th, while the ever-charismatic Tara Davis-Woodhull of the U.S. won with a commanding 7.07 meters. The meet also saw 2 new world records. Kenya's Faith Kipyegon lowered her own 1,500-meter record to 3 minutes 48.68 seconds. In the women's 5,000-meter, Beatrice Chebet ran 13 minutes 58.6 seconds, the first woman in history to break 14 minutes. Back in the Caribbean, fans in Bridgetown got a treat as Akeelia Jones competed at home for the first time in over 3 years. The Olympian and World U20 champion thrilled the local crowd with a third-place finish in the women's long jump, 6.30 meters, behind Trinidad and Tobago's Tyra Gittins, 6.54 meters, and Chantel Malone, 6.33 meters. Barbados' own Sada Williams brought the crowd to their feet, winning the women's 400 meters in 51.15 ahead of Printasia Johnson and Sha'Carri Anderson. Deshaun Boyce won the men's 400 meters in 45.78, holding off Kyle Gale and Jonathan Jones. Trinidad and Tobago's Michelle Leahigh clocked 11.41 to win the women's 100 meter. Jamaica's relay teams swept all 3 events, including a meet record of 3 minutes and 15.06 seconds in the mixed 4x400-meter relay. At the end of the night, it was the Panthers who claimed the team title with 104 points, just ahead of the Outlaws on 99. Meanwhile, there may be trouble for some Jamaicans as the Tokyo 2025 World Athletics Championships are just over 2 months away, and several of the country's athletes are still working to meet the qualifying standards, despite finishing top 3 at national trials. Broadbell ruled out of Tokyo 2025. Sources close to Jamaica's selection process have confirmed that Rashid Broadbell will not be included in Jamaica's team for the World Championships in Tokyo 2025. Broadbell, Jamaica's top sprint hurdler and Olympic bronze medalist, was forced to withdraw from the men's 110-meter hurdles final at the national championships due to injury. Although he applied for a medical exemption under the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association (JAA) rules, which allow top athletes to be considered for selection if they can prove fitness before the final team submission, Broadbell's recovery time will not allow him to demonstrate the required level of fitness in time. As a result, the exemption was not granted, and he will miss the World Championships. This decision clears the way for athletes like Tyler Mason, who placed 3rd in the final and achieved the qualifying standard, to take the available spot on the team. Broadbell's injury and inability to meet the exemption requirements ultimately ended his bid to represent Jamaica in Tokyo, despite his past accomplishments. Diamond League finalists announced. Caribbean athletes are also set to feature at the Wanda Diamond League final in Brussels. Confirmed finalists include Thea LaFond, Dominica. Women's triple jump. Shanika Ricketts, Jamaica. Jordan Scott, Jamaica. Men's triple jump. That's it for this week's Track and Field Weekly Wrap. The road to Tokyo is heating up, and we'll be here to bring you every step, every leap, and every finish line crossed. Welcome
to another Track Alerts Live. And of course, tonight, Monday night, it is Spotlight on Caribbean Track and Field. the weekly show that celebrates the speed, the strength, and spirit of Caribbean finest athletes. This region may be small in size, but it is massive on the world stage. From Olympic champions, world champion, Diamond League winners, the Caribbean continues to set the pace in international athletics. Just look at Julien Alfred from St. Lucia and Thea LaFond from Dominica, two women from two of the smallest Caribbean islands who made history at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, each winning gold in the 100 meters and the triple jump respectively. With Jamaica's 96 Olympic medals, Trinidad and Tobago 19, Bahamas 16, the region proves time and time again it's about hard work, it's about heart and legacy, raw talent added. So with that, every week we will bring you the latest from the previous week, athletes' insights, bold predictions, tough conversations, and from the stars you know to the names you'll soon remember. This is where Caribbean athletics takes center stage. So tonight, let's talk. Let's talk Caribbean. This is Spotlight on Caribbean track and field. And of course, we want to start out the discussion by, getting your input. Tell us who was your top performer from the past week. We had the Barbados Grand Prix, where it was a team-based format. We'll be joined by the organizer, Aaron Spencer, a little bit later. We also had the Prefontaine, where Kishane Thompson running 9.8 and Julien Alfred running 10.7 for second. Big run by Julien Alfred there despite the second place finish. We have Akira Nugent, as you heard in our report earlier, running 12.3. So we had some big performance coming out, and that's what we want to discuss with you tonight. So drop your comments. Let us know what do you think about the past week, and let us have a discussion. Coach Vaughn should be joining us soon also. So send your comments in. Let us talk, let us discuss, and we'll share those comments with you. So again, it's Spotlight on Caribbean track and field. And we're hoping to be joined soon. But in the meantime, let us listen Kishane Thompson after his race when he spoke to reporters at the Prefontaine last week, Saturday.
I'm here with Kishane Thompson, winner of the 100-meter men's race today. Kishane, 985, what's going to stop you right now coming off of a win in your national championships, a win at the Pre-Classic? Talk me through what's going on in your head.
In terms of what's going to stop me, I'm the only one that can stop me. I don't say that to brag, but to be honest, once I better my execution, amazing things going to happen. It's step by step from here.
So when you say that you want to improve on the execution, what specific components are you looking to tweak?
It's not just one component, it's putting all of them together, from the start to the finish. Because I can work on one component, but if I can't put them together, it doesn't make any sense.
So today it seemed even as you were approaching the line, you still maybe eased up a little bit. There's obviously, we saw in the Jamaican champs, you ran a very fast time. What do you think time-wise we have our sights set on? Are you thinking about that at all?
Honestly, no. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. And I said the major thing on my mind right now is just to put in my race together. Everything else will come.
So what does it mean to come out here today against a strong field, defeat them in front of this large crowd at the Pre-Classic? What does it mean to come out with the win today?
Honestly, it proves that flat speed-wise is not really a problem. But to unlock a new level of speed, I gotta put it together. It was a fierce competition. They ran me to the line. I'm really appreciative of it. It will help me to get better step by step, and vice versa for everyone.
So between now and the World Championships, what comes next? What does your competition schedule look like? What does your training look like?
I'm not sure, but you guys will see me for sure. When you see me, you'll know.
So coming off of a wonderful Olympics, to get to that next spot, to step up, what do you think you need to accomplish? More of keeping all of the components together, or if your coach were to say, in order to get there, what's your coach telling you?
Honestly, if I was to tell you everything, I would be here for a good while. But it's a lot of stuff to run fast and to accomplish certain accolades. It's not just getting up and snapping your finger. It's work, mental and physical. You gotta trust yourself, trust the process, trust the team, trust the coach, and so forth.
Tell me about the crowd today. How did it feel like competing in front of them?
Yeah, it's an amazing crowd, man. I didn't know that so many people over here actually knew me. Yeah, I got a good reception from everyone. Yeah.
People cheering for you.
Yeah, everybody said, "Go, Kishane," and I was like, knowing me, I'm not all that, I'm kind of shy. I was like, thank you. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your race today.
So there you have it, Kishane Thompson. He says he's not bragging or anything, but only Kishane can beat Kishane. And we wish Kishane all the best. Last year at the Olympics, it did not work as he would have wanted it. He finished second, in my opinion, tied up a little bit in that last part of the race. Let's see, check on our social comment. And as I said, remember, drop your comment. We will discuss them with you. We're still waiting to join Mr. Spencer, meet organizer or the meet director from the Barbados Grand Prix, a team-based track and field meet last week. So we hope to join him very soon. But what was your highlight? As I said, Julien Alfred ran 10.77. She was just beaten by Melissa Jefferson. Melissa Jefferson wouldn't be stopped this year? She has been running at the Grand Slam track or Grand Slam track series, and she won all the 100-meter races, and she continued right into Prefontaine, where she came out with the win in a big time, 10.75, big run there, but guess who was in that race too? Sha'Carri Richardson. Yes. And as Otto Bolden would have said, dead last. So we are getting ready to join Coach Vaughn and also Spencer from Barbados, where we just had the Barbados Grand Prix, and that was an amazing event in Bridgetown, Barbados. Took place at the Usain Bolt track at the University of West Indies Cayville campus. So we are working to join our guests shortly, and we're working at it, and we're getting there. But in the meantime, while we wait to join our guests, which we are getting to pretty soon, All right. First of all, let let me welcome Coach Vaughn. Welcome, Coach Vaughn. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
I am hearing you loud and clear. Yes.
Beautiful things, man.
How
Pleased
was
to
the
be here as
weekend? How was
always.
the weekend of track and field for you?
It was a busy weekend for me. I didn't get to watch the meets live as I would like to watch them because my flight got delayed. Then when I went on the flight, the Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I couldn't access watching the meet. So that's pretty much how it was. But I was able to catch some of the ending of the Prefontaine. And then by the time I got home, I watched one or two of the races at the Barbados Grand Prix. And so that's how it was. But it was an eventful weekend, track and field wise, and I'm enjoying it, man. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see top class track and field returning to Barbados, and we have Spencer on the line. But just before we join Spencer, I was talking a little bit about the Prefontaine and that Sha'Carri Richardson out of Bolden style finished dead last. I have an interview, and I'm going to play that interview with Sha'Carri Richardson because I think she ran 11.16, and that was a season best. Let us listen what she had to say.
Gary, a season's best for you today. Was that your motivation going into today? I know you said that you were facing off with some injuries earlier in the season.
Definitely the only motivation that I had today was having a healthy race, and the fact that I execute a healthy race, knowing that now I have the time because I do have the by being the reigning world champion. All I have to do is just keep pushing and focusing in on practice. So I'm super excited to just finish. I prayed for a healthy race. I got a healthy race, so I accept that.
Now, talk to me about how you're just able to constantly believe in yourself and have that confidence in yourself, even with dealing with injuries and maybe some unfavorable races sometimes.
Honestly, it's about having a groundness. I go back to my faith and having that faith. If you don't believe in yourself first, you can't expect anybody else to believe in you. So I believe in the fact that no matter what I do, when I am 100%, there's literally nothing that can stop me but me.
Now, what area of improvement do you still see for yourself?
Definitely my start. When it comes to working on my start, I always see that as an improvement, as well as when it comes to mentally getting more prepared for these moments, despite good race, bad race, but being mentally in tune every single time I run down the track.
Now, it was a sold-out stadium today, Sha'Carri. Did you feel the energy?
Oh my gosh, every time I'm here, I feel the magic. But the fact that it's a sold-out stadium, it shows the respect here in Eugene that the fans have for track and field that we don't get unless we're in the games or in other parts of the world. But every time here at Hayward Field, the magic is here, the love is here, and I appreciate it every single time.
Now, how will you be spending these 2 weeks getting ready for USA's?
I will be spending these 2 weeks, now that I have the confidence of health, I'll be spending these 2 weeks just working on speed endurance and knowing that when I come back here to the Magic Stadium, I'm going to be at my fullest and more confident in not executing just a healthy race, but a speedy race too.
And it's kind of like now you know that you can do it, so you're out here and now you have that confidence. Now, in terms of Christian trains with you guys, now how has that dynamic been at practice? Are the block starts getting faster having Christian there?
It's a great dynamic having my partner who is literally the best of all time at what he does. I am phenomenal to have him. He motivates me better than anybody else does, and he always pushes me to be even more every single time, and I do the same for him.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, love you.
So, there you have it. Sha'Carri Richardson is saying once she is fit and healthy, only Sha'Carri can beat Sha'Carri. Welcome, Spencer.
Thank you for having me once again.
Yes, man, great to have you. I was able to watch the Barbados Grand Prix, and as I mentioned over and over, it's something new because it's a team-based format. And I think the Panthers was it that came out on top?
It came out on top, yes, sir.
Yes, the Panthers came out on top. First of all, let me ask you, how satisfied are you at the end of it all? I know you would have put in a lot of work, over the months, trying to get this right, trying to make sure you do things that will make the athletes comfortable, trying to make sure you put on a show for the fans, and most importantly, athletes will be looking to come back next year and the years to come. How satisfied are you at the end of the day?
I'm very satisfied. The athletes are happy about it, and to me, that's the most important thing. Everyone felt inspired by it. There's still quite a bit of a buzz here in Barbados about the meet. Everybody's talking about it, and as I said before, the athletes are very happy about it, and it's an opportunity that a lot of them have never had before. A lot of them have never been exposed to world class competition like that before. So once the athletes are happy, I'm happy. And then in terms of the spectators, we basically had a packed out stadium, something that we haven't seen in a long time in Barbados, and we're so blessed for that. We as Barbadians have been searching for an event like this where we can, see where our local athletes compare to other world class talent, and I think it actually exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, exceed your expectation. And what was the feedback like from the athletes?
Yeah, man, everybody was happy. As I said, everybody was really inspired. Um, I think the team format everybody really liked as well. There was some back and forth between the athletes and stuff like that, and that's all we want, man. We want rivalries. We want showdowns. That's what the sport is about. And so the athletes were happy. A lot of them came home with personal bests and seasons bests, and a lot of them came home, and then some of them won prize money as well. So we're all very happy and all feeling very inspired as athletes.
Hmm. And we spoke about this before because yes, it's a new meet. We all know the struggles with Caribbean, or not
Yeah.
only Caribbean organizers right across the world when it comes down to funding, and many track and field fans, want to see big names. They want to see people. They want to know that those who are coming, can run 9.7.
Yeah.
They want to know the ladies can run 10.7 those times. But we know this is very, very expensive. What your meet did was to have some athletes who will make it competitive.
Yeah.
Yes, you didn't have the big name, but the meet based on the entries, you know, people were like more evenly
Yeah.
matched, and
I agree.
this create that kind of excitement. When you look at it though, going forward, do you want to kind of keep this not the same group, but athletes who are more within the same range than trying to go for athletes who are record breakers and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a tricky situation there because, as you said, I really like how competitive the races were. If it might have been a little more boring if we had like the big star and then everybody else was far back. As you said, from the one straight down to the 800, where they were all very evenly matched. There was no definitive winner in any of the event. There's nobody that you can say, yo, this person will win
Mm-hmm.
that event. So I really like that. So going forward, I assume that now that we have a bit of a reputation, we might get some bigger names. But hopefully we get more than one big name so it can still be a really competitive event. But with that being said, I still want a lot of local athletes to be involved. And
Mm-hmm.
local athletes may not be at that level, so
Yes.
it's kind of trying to keep that balance between having some of these stars and still integrating the local athletes. So they want it to be a development
Mm-hmm.
meet as well.
Coach Vaughn,
Yeah.
while talking to Spencer, one of the things that came to mind is yes, people want to see big names, and I love the format. I love the quality of the athletes that Spencer brought in for this meet because, as I said, look on the women's long jump. You had Chantal Malone, you had Tara Gittins,
Hmm.
you had Akila Jones. So you have three athletes right there who would have represented their country at the highest level. And even they didn't win a medal at the highest level, but that in itself there show that competitiveness. Now, You look on the men's 100. I remember while I was listening to the commentary, when they were announcing the field, you had no idea who you think would be the winner, because these athletes were close in terms of their personal best and season best and stuff like that. No, I say that to say, would you agree with me, Coach Vaughn, that whereas persons want to get some big names, maybe the Bahamas, I know Bahamas always have a meet. They have the Racers Grand Prix. Meets used to be in Cayman. Now the Barbados Grand Prix. If keep our Caribbean athletes, get them exposed, and maybe you have one invitational race that you'll try to get a clash between two of the world's top or three athletes in that event. So, for example, you may decide that I'm going to go with the men's 400. So you're going to get the Matthew Hudson from Great Britain. You're going to get Quincy Hall who's the Olympic champion. You're going to get possibly the top people. So you get 4 of the top persons, and you'll have that invitational race that will bring the big names. Because again, we're not going to be able to afford getting 15 big names, spread them over 5, 6, 7 events. But just having one event and say this is going to be the marquee event for the meet, but the meet will still keep its team format, which is loaded with the Caribbean presence. What do you think about that, Coach Van?
I think while it's noble, I think from my perspective, I've come to accept that there's levels to everything, right? And with this, what I saw was a lot of athletes who, would not have been invited to other international meets, other athletes who couldn't afford to go to other international meets, who were actually given an opportunity to run within the region. Because I think that's what's important with the development of the sport from a regional level, to have more regional competitions. And I think the last time we spoke about Carifta and I think the NACAC, right? But having a track meet like this during the summertime, getting ready for a world champs or a major meet, I think it's important, because sometimes people tend to ask, what happened to this person? What happened to that person? I haven't heard from them. And I think that's what this gives us an opportunity to explore, because the Caribbean, as a what you'd call it, as a region between Bahamas, between Trinidad, between Jamaica, they'll fill several lanes in major events in any given sprint event, so to speak. Any sprint event, 100 meters, 100 hurdles, 110 hurdles, 200 meters. You have Devin Charlton, you have Megan Tapper for the ladies side. In the men's side, you have the Jamaican guys, and then even a little while back, you had a guy named Ronald Forbes on the Cayman Islands who ran the 110 hurdles. And if you had more meets of that nature, then they become household names within the Caribbean. And I think that's one of the things I liked about the Grand Slam track, because it wasn't only just big name athletes. There were other athletes who got a chance to run, who got a chance to be exposed, who normally it just doesn't make sense for them to travel all the way to Europe, right? Because if you look at the Bahamas, they've had a good set. If you look at per capita, Bahamas is probably the most successful country in the Olympics or at the world level, right? Because they're so small, but somehow they always get a medal or two here and there. And just on a per capita basis, they're probably like the number one country. And if you have a regional championship, have a regional type of system like this team format that the Barbados Grand Prix has, I think it could engender more athletes to get involved at this grassroots level and grow the sport regionally. Because there's no way you can purport to have a great meet like boys and girls champs in Jamaica, and yet still at the next level, you don't have anything. So I think it played its part. Getting other international athletes who are in the top in the world, I'm not quite convinced that they will really pull a crowd, so to speak. And to me, I feel like the dancehall format, bring the baddest DJs and more people will come. I don't know if that's really a format that works, right? It works at a certain level, but I don't know how it will work for this. If it works, great. But I wouldn't throw me personally. I wouldn't throw my eggs on that because I think having seen a name like Devontae Howell at 10.15 in the women's 100 meters, seeing the likes of Michelle Aik, I know she's had some issues in the past. Looking at the 200 meters with, it's a decent 20.6 and 20.5 from Barbados and Jamaica. These types of things, we need to see the athletes more and more. And I think that's what this really offers. And it'll be good for it to continue. And if we look at the point standing at the end of it, it's a different format. You don't have that format in other areas. So I think having a regional thing that has a different format could attract a different type of athlete, the rising stars, so to speak, and you go from there from a grassroots level and get people more interested. I think that's a good, beautiful thing about this meet.
A beautiful thing about it, indeed. So, Spencer, having gone now, what? Today would be the second day since the meet. What
Yes, sir.
what are some of the things you are picking up from the stakeholders? What are they saying? What advice are they giving with things that you can look forward to introduce or you can do differently next year?
Um, well, first of all, I really like your idea with having like an invitational race. Like kind of keeping the format with the developmental stars and the rising stars, and then having that invitational race. I really like that idea. But one thing that came up was I would say that we can improve on would be to integrate, like hone in a little bit more on the team aspect of the meet. I feel like that was lost just a little bit. Um, and as you said, the stakeholders agree. I think that we could, hype it up a little bit more so that that the fans could really be involved in the hyping up the teams. I think that's the most important thing that we can take away from it. Obviously, we still maintained it and we still did a good job of it, but we can always do a better job of, because that was the main goal, was to bring rivalries amongst the teams, and I think that we can do a better job on that. But overall, we've had some really good reviews. Everyone's excited about what it could bloom into, and we as the organizers of the meet are very excited as well.
hmm What was the support like from the fans?
It was incredible. It was incredible. I haven't seen in my well since probably I was in secondary school the Usain Bolt stadium that loud in a long time, in a very long time, and people were even saying like they felt as though like it was like the return of regional track and field in Barbados, and that felt good. Like as a the conceptualizer of the meet, that felt good to hear that, and yeah, especially when because we ended up running the 4x4. The Barbados team ran the men's 4x4, and we won. We didn't run a qualifying time, but we ended up winning a very, very exciting race, and that came down to the finish. And after that, 4x4, like the stadium went crazy. I think that was someone even told me that that race is what is going to sell the meat out
hmm
next year. So the crowd was amazing. I couldn't ask for anything more. I think even so, people were coming in like 2-3 hours before the meet to get their seats, and the meet started at 6 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, there was a long line of spectators waiting to get into the stadium. So all those things are really encouraging for us.
Do you plan to reach out to Caribbean track and field leaders, the president for the association in St. Kitts and Nevis, the
Yeah,
president Bahamas, Jamaica? Are you trying to reach out to these people next year to at least get 8 countries to send relay teams?
yeah,
And it's not going to be a part of the your team format,
yeah,
but just to get countries to support. So, for example, Michelle may be a part of the Panthers team, but she run the 4x1 as
yeah,
part of that Trinidad and Tobago team. So those points would not be counted to the team to the teams. Do you have any aim or any way you say you'd want to reach out to presidents and get them to support the meet by at least sending one, two relay teams?
For sure. We definitely started to engage with the presidents of the associations this year. But it was also really last minute because we only came up with the idea when we saw the world relays, and we saw that different countries didn't end up qualifying. So we just kind of took that opportunity, and we reached out to all the most of the presidents of the associations, and in turn that led to some of the athletes. For example, Alonso Russell, he was coming for the 4x4, but he originally was coming for the 4x4, but then he said he wanted a lane in the 400 meters, and there was a space in the 400 meters, so we were able to put him in. And other athletes like Sha'Carri Anderson, from Jamaica. Was originally coming just to help the 4x4 team as well. But again, there was a lane available for her in the 400, so we were able to fit her in. So next year, for sure, we will actually be engaging them a lot earlier. For sure, that's the plan. Just to build a relationship with the different federations, and as you said, allow them to support the meet in a tremendous way.
Hmm. And for you, the last time I personally see a meet organizer running at the meet that they organize was all the way back in about 2012, 2013, when Sidney Madasil ran at the first Cayman Invitational, and she was the meet director. You ran at this meet. How did you do it? How did you plan a meet and train and take part in the meet?
I'll be honest and say I probably will not do that again. It was very, very, very difficult. Obviously, because I take my craft very seriously, so I still wanted to be able to prioritize training. But it was very, very difficult kind of balancing the two, because it was very difficult in just organizing in itself, because um, organizing a meet of that magnitude requires a lot of micromanaging. And obviously, I had an incredible team behind me, including my dad, and he was there. They've been a big support for me, and I think that's the only reason I was able to get to run at this meet, because of the support that I had and the team that I had behind me. And yeah, it's a lot of micromanaging. You don't have a lot of time to yourself, and again, I think next year I will either take more of a back seat on the organizing if I want to compete, or the other way around. If I want to organize, I probably will not compete, or just trying to find a balance at the same time too.
Hmm. Coach Vaughn, last week at the Prefontaine, Akira Nugent was on fire. 12.3. Was it 12.34, Coach Vaughn? What?
Yeah, 12:34.
12:34. What do you think about that performance?
You know, Nugent, like Melissa Jefferson, has been having a stellar season, right? No lie. And I think I read an article or something flash across my Google screen that she's going to take a little time off. And I think it is prime time, because she already had the trials and she already qualified for Team Jamaica. And I think winning the Prix is a good statement going towards the Worlds, because she's in the pole position right now. So everyone she has a target on her proverbial back. So we'll get to see at the US trials in a couple weeks what Team USA looks like and what the others across the globe look like for this championship. But Akira Nugent right now looks unstoppable in the 100 hurdles. She just has to keep it together and get through those rounds, and leave it to your training for the finals. But I like what I see so far.
All right, you like what you saw? Let us listen to what she had to say after that race on Saturday.
All right, I am here with Akira Nugent, winner of the 100-meter hurdles women. Akira, you've had kind of a good season so far. Tell me about the race today.
The race today was okay. My allergies are killing me, but I was able to hold it together. Just coming from trials last weekend, and I know that this was a great field of ladies that I would be lined up with. So I have to be at my A game. So I came out here today, and I followed instruction of my coach, and I executed.
And what were the instructions that your coach gave you to deliver today?
Basically just focus on the things that I can basically control along the race, and just the way I'm at in training, and don't get ahead of myself because I've been doing that lately.
So you're coming off of the national championships. I know second there. Did you come out with a little bit of fire today, wanting to show up?
Yeah, because that's what the instruction that was given to me. Just basically make the team. That's the most important part, and then we finish out the rest of the season.
I feel like time-wise, you've been very consistent. You've been running very fast, but very steady time, showing that consistency across the season. What do you think it's going to take come World Championships? What do you need to do between now and then to really be on that global stage as we know you can be?
I can't tell you that, but I'm where I need to be. I'm where my coach wants me to be right now, being a consistent mid, and that's 12.3, 12.4. So being right there is really good for me right now.
And you have been running some 100-meter dashes throughout the season. Do you think that ability to run some of those speed events and focus on the flat has helped at all, or has that affected any of your training at all?
It has, because that's my speed work, because really I haven't really been doing much in practice because it's a long season and we're trying to gauge it better than I did last year. Yeah.
And so coming out in front of this crowd, historically, they said over the loudspeaker that the last time a Jamaican won this race at the Pre-Classic was 2003. So it's been a bit. What does it mean to you to come up here today, both for Jamaica but for yourself, and come out with a win against, you said it, that could be the Olympic final field, what we were looking at right now, the caliber of the athletes. What does it mean to come out and win and beat them?
Well, 2003, I was just turning 1. So it's a really good feeling, because these are ladies that I'll always show up with each and every meet that I contest at. So getting a feel of them a bit more this season, it's a great feeling, yeah.
So what comes next now? What happens after this race between now and champs?
Oh, I'm done until August. Y'all won't see me until August. Yeah, baby need a break.
What does a break look like? What are you going to do?
Oh, practice.
Not a real break.
No, not a real break, but from just racing, every other weekend, yeah. So that's what it is.
How do you celebrate the win today?
Well, try to go clear my nose. But I probably go out tonight with my friend that lives here, yeah.
And if you could pinpoint one thing in that race that you're really proud of, what would it be?
Oh, my start. I was with them. So that's what I've been working on, because I've been inconsistent with that, but I did a good job at that today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Akira.
One thing that she was happy about, that start, she was right there with them. That's what she said. And she also said you won't see her again until August because she needs to take a break. And September, is the big one. The women's 100-meter hurdles, it's no secret. And I think everyone knows that this is the toughest and most competitive race in world track and field. And if you line up the 8 Olympic finalists 5 times, you may have, it's highly likely that you'll have 5 different winners. That's how competitive this race is. Spencer, Akira Jones, and Sha'Carri Williams returning to compete in Barbados. How were they received?
Yeah, it was a big deal for the fans, especially. Both of them are equally well known in Barbados, so it was a big deal for the supporters. I think a lot of them came specifically for those 2 names. Akira Jones, she's someone that hasn't competed on Barbadian soil since 2019. So it's a rare occasion, rare time that you get to see her jump, and she did. For someone that hasn't competed in so long, she did a very creditable job. So we were so happy to see that. And then obviously Sha'Carri Williams, she handled business, and we were all happy to see that. It's always good to see those 2 superstars run on Barbadian soil for the first time in such a long time. So it was very well received.
When you had to reach out to the boat, what was how did they receive it? What did they say? Were they happy? Were they
Uh,
excited to know that they're coming?
Akila Jones was very excited. The thing is, I had somebody told me because I didn't even know that she was still training because I know I thought she was hurt. I know she was hurt at one point, so I didn't think she was healthy enough to compete. So we didn't originally invite her. Um, but one of her, somebody that lives that's close to her, called me and said, "Why don't you invite Akila Jones?" Um, and that's what we did. And she was very excited, very happy to be home and competing because she's obviously working towards the 2028 Olympics, and for this to start her journey towards that to compete at home was special
Hmm.
for her. So she was very excited. As you said, she was on your show once, and so you saw how excited she was.
Yes.
Um, she brought the energy. You could see how grateful she was for the opportunity. So that was good for us. And then with Sade was a little bit more difficult because we had originally thought that she would it would be clashing with the Prefontaine Classic. I wish it did, but we still ended up reaching out anyways. And it took a little bit of a longer time for her to accept the invitation because there were so many moving parts. So she wasn't sure if she
Yes.
would be available,
Hmm.
but she ended up accepting, and she too was very excited to come home. To compete, and she as she always is. So, and we as Barbadian people, that was very well received, and it kind of came at a good time when she accepted the invitation because it was kind of like at the peak of our marketing. So
Hmm.
it came at a really good time. So we were again grateful for those two.
Hmm. How many sponsors tell you already that they are would have committed that they are returning
Um,
next year?
the government, I know the government, the Ministry of Sports, had promised us that we will be placed in the budget for the 2026 for Barbados Grand Prix. So we're excited about that. Um, and a couple of other sponsors we were just working on like what the contract will look like
Hmm.
in the upcoming years. So I wouldn't be in a position to reveal that now, but
Hmm.
we are looking good for next year. I'll say that, and we're happy to have the support behind us, especially from the government.
Hmm. Coach Vaughn, you have anything for Spencer?
Spencer, one of the things I wanted to check in with you about the meet with the teams, right? What was the selection criteria for the different athletes that you had?
So for me, I know so originally this meet was actually supposed to just be locals. But then it just blossomed into something greater. So originally, I was just going based off of the top 10, was it the top 8 to 10 times within the last 2 years of each event. That's what I was going based off of. And then when the suggestion came about the regional athletes, um, that was just basically intuition, who I thought would bring good competition to the local athletes and not just run away with the with the wins. So it's athletes that I knew, some I knew personally and some I didn't, and um, but I think that we as a team did a really good job in selecting especially the regional athletes because they were very good additions.
All right, that's all I got, man.
Yes,
Good
sir.
job on that meet, man.
Thank you,
And
sir.
of
I
course, as I
appreciate it.
said, I watched the meet. I didn't watch everything because I was on the road the entire time,
Yeah.
and I was very happy to see, the fans turning out. I
Yeah.
was very happy to see the meet, turning out to be very successful.
Mm.
You know, yes, we would have wanted to see a little more teams in the relays. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we
Definitely, I agree.
yeah, we I was hoping in that I think that was what that 4x1. It was just unfortunate that the Barbados team did not finish, and Jamaica had to finish alone because the Barbados team was right up there with the Jamaicans. And at that time, anything could have happened. And Coach Vaughn, this meet also provided opportunities for Team Jamaica in some events to qualify for the World Championships, Tokyo 2025. And it did not happen. No fault with the meet. It just did not happen. Men's 4x1 still searching for qualification. I think they're Coach Vaughn, 18th, and they will have to get into that top 16 time.
I think the Netherlands, are you talking about that 4x1, right?
Yes.
I believe the Netherlands dropped at 37, so there's only one spot left now, last time I checked.
No, but even though they dropped at 30, you said they dropped at 37.
Yeah. So it's one spot left now.
Is it one
it was
spot?
two
Or
spots.
yeah, but the fact that you still have up to August 24, so if Jamaica is to drop at 36 tomorrow, then they will overtake
yes.
and they will drop back. So it's not necessarily
Yes.
that one spot. You just have to be within that time.
I think right now the time to beat is 38-2, if my memory serves me correct from what I saw Saturday. 38-2 is the time to beat now to get that last spot, quote unquote. But as you said, the qualification period goes all the way through August, what is it, 24th or 30th, thereabout. So any card could play between now and then. But we definitely have to run a significantly faster time, Team Jamaica.
Definitely have to run a faster time. Will it happen? It's tough, because if we don't have our top athletes, at the trials, we didn't have anyone from the top 3, top 4 as part of that relay team.
Right, because Kishane was busy winning the Prix.
Which he had to be at the Prix.
Yeah.
As a Nike athlete. Civil, we saw what happened to him at trials, so we didn't expect Civil to be coming out to run.
Yeah.
Akeem Blake. We don't know. Well,
not sure where he was.
Exactly. He don't seem to run a lot this year. So we're not sure, maybe he had a little, I don't know. And then the aim was just to get him ready for trials to make the team.
Mm-hmm.
But we are in a spot of bother. And will we be able to get at least 2 persons from that top 4 or top 3 to put a 4x1 relay team together to qualify Jamaica for the Tokyo 2025 World Championships? And not only the men's 4x1, but I think we're also searching for qualification for the female 4x4 and the mix 4x4.
The mix 4x. I think for Team Jamaica having the champs so soon, their championship so soon, they have the athletes that qualified. I think they need to decide who they want to run at the meet, the top 6 or 8, whatever the entries are, and have those gentlemen run. Then the coaches and everyone have to put their differences aside or training schedules aside or make it work, and getting some exchanges, and then find a proper meet and do it. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Well, I can tell you, these athletes are looking out for themselves first. And I must tell you, I personally cannot blame them to look out for themselves first, because they will tell you that at the end of the day, relay gold or relay medals don't, quote unquote, get their sponsorship check from their shoe company bigger for the next year. Right?
Facts. That's
first,
facts
you have to
too,
make
right?
the team. And then second, you have to get into the final and then winning a medal. Then you'll get a fatter paycheck for the year, for the next year. You're not going to get...
So then the question is, so the question, not to beat a dead horse, so why some people were upset when athletes leave and go to other countries with a paycheck?
I don't know who would have been upset. but you have to.
You know?
Athletes have to defend their own thing. Many athletes. I was listening to Roger Stoner on the coach's decks, and he said he showed persons within the J3 his bank account to say, hey, there's nothing in it. And the per diem he got for the Olympics, he had to use it to help clear some back bills. And if these athletes are representing our country at the highest level, they are winning medals at the highest level. He created history, the first shot putter from Jamaica to win a medal at the Olympic Games, and he's still without a sponsor. Then how are you going to blame or say the man turn his back on his country, right? When I look at it, we just can't afford it as a country, because how many money are you going to give these athletes, and how many athletes are you going to have in a pool that you're trying to help? And when I look at it, if you're thinking about 3 athletes per event, and you have about 20 events in track and field, mark your Jamaica don't participate in all 20, because we don't do the we do the hammer. I think we had one lady who was doing the hammer, but you're talking about, say, 20 events, the plus 2, because 20 male and 20 female, that's 40. And even if you minus at 10 to 30, and you're helping to fund 3 athletes per event, you might have some event you might have 4, some event you might have 3, some you might have 2. You're talking about 3 times 30, roughly 90 people. How much are you going to give these athletes as a monthly stipend? $2,000?
I think you have to talk to Henry Roll. Coach Henry Roll has a whole plan, but he's not releasing it until they sit down with him seriously.
Oh. Wow.
And he did mention that number, 90 athletes, and I think the number in terms of the cash, I think he mentioned $15 million. I think that's what he had mentioned.
Where will that money come from?
I guess he has it figured out, but
because we heard
that we need to sit and talk to him.
We heard the J-Trades turned down millions of dollars or billions Jamaican dollars from a contract. That's what we heard, right? We haven't heard the J-Trade say it's not true. We heard the athletes now crying. We heard the athletes mentioning that you turned down money and you are not able to help us. And if you had taken that money, and again, whether it's true or what, I don't know. But I'm just saying these things are what the athletes are talking about. And a lot of times we hear things and it's really not true in Augusta. But this one is having a lot of athletes talking about it, and a lot of athletes are really upset. I heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the Jamaica National Senior Championship the other day didn't have a title sponsor. I don't know if they had any sponsor at all. The Jamaica Invitational or Jamaica International Invitational, what it is called, it returned last year. It was crap for this year. No, the words on the ground, boss, or the information or the talk on the ground is that people who used to spend to support these events are holding back because of the money that was said, was offered, and was rejected.
I don't know much about the politics in the background, but I'll just leave that alone. But there's definitely a need for transparency.
Spencer, looking ahead to next year, Barbados Grand Prix for next year, I'm sure you're looking to get more support. I'm sure you're looking to work even twice as harder than you worked this year.
No, he's not running next year. I mean, he's not running. He's not organizing next year.
And of course, you realize,
Don't worry, we gotta figure it out.
Yeah,
We gotta figure it
we
out.
had Spencer here, Coach Van, but we tried don't get him in the politics, you know. 'Cause
Uh,
this politics can be too much, track and field politics. But looking ahead for next year, um, what would you want to achieve next year? What do you want to see? And of course, before we close, just big up some people who you have to big up, that would have made this year possible and made it the success it was.
yeah, of course, of course, of course. I think that for next year, just growth, just growth. We have a platform now. We have a reputation now. So we just want to build off that. So more people. Hopefully, we have a natural national stadium by next year, and we can fit more people into the stadium. And I just want that this meet be a marquee event on the track and field calendar for next year. I pray that people are looking forward to it. I pray that people kind of just circle it in on their calendars just to just to have something to look forward to on the local track and field calendar. So we as the organizing committee are very excited already, even though it's a year away. We, as you said, as I said, I hope it could fit more people. I hope we can attract more athletes. I hope that I know for a fact that the level of competition will increase. That's by both the local athletes and the regional athletes. And I just thankful again to the whole of Barbados. Honestly, we made it known and we made it a point that we can host regional talent, the best of the best in Barbados. So now that we have that platform, I'm looking forward to growing and obviously we gotta big up all the sponsors, of course. I don't want to forget anybody, but namely Sagicor Bank for sponsoring the 400 meters, Empire Construction, the hotels Accra and Hilton for providing us with accommodation, ticket links, the Sandy Waters, Powerade, and I hope I'm not forgetting anybody.
I hope you don't.
But yeah, but thank you to to the sponsors of the event. Thank you to the people of Barbados. Thank you for believing in the vision of the Barbados Grand Prix. And I'm just happy that it came off well, and we are again looking forward to next year. So again, thank you
Hmm.
to the Track Alerts team for your support
Hmm.
of the Barbados Grand Prix. We've been following. We all follow Track Alerts, and we've been seeing the support that you've been giving us since you guys got notice of it. So we appreciate y'all for sure.
Yeah, and we hope to be with it bigger and better next year. And
There it is.
I'm looking at your sponsorship list, and just in case you had left off anybody, Sagicor was you say was your main sponsor. You had Nation News. You have Better
Nation
Health
News, yes.
Magazine.
Catholic Health Magazine, yes sir.
You had Hilton. You
Hilton
had
and Accra, correct.
Accra,
Mm-hmm.
Poed. You
Yes
had
sir.
Adulo.
Abdullah Apartments, yes sir.
Yes,
Abdullah
Ticket
Apartments.
Links.
Yes sir.
You had Sports BB.
Sports Update.
Thanks to
That's
Sport BB, we were able to see it from wherever
correct.
we were. You had Dasani
Mm-hmm.
and Signia Globe.
Senior Globe Financial, yes sir.
Yes.
Our,
So
and we couldn't have done it without those sponsors. We literally couldn't.
definitely,
So
definitely.
all,
And we wish
all
you
the
all the best, all the very best. As I said, I enjoyed the meet. It was the first one, and it came off very well. And of course, in everything we do, we always try to be better or get better at it every time we do it.
always.
Again, you know, much respect in Jamaican term. Big up yourself and all the best
Of
for
course.
next year.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Okay,
All
sir.
right, keep
Thank
it up,
you.
man.
So
Keep
we'll
up the good
talk.
work.
Yes, sir.
And as I said, Coach Vaughn, that is it. That is a wrap. And just before we go, Melissa Jefferson wouldn't, beat our Caribbean queen, new Caribbean sprint queen, Julien Alfred, in that women's 100 meters final at the Prefontaine. And Melissa is on a high. She has been on a high since the Grand Slam track series. And she continue to blaze. And this World Championships is looking more and more serious. Where will be the medal coming from for Jamaica on the track? And that's a question everyone is asking. Where will be the medals coming from on the track? Will we get any in the field? Because 4 of our medal contenders possibly won't line up for us. Should I say possibly? Definitely won't line up for us. Because none of those 4 people turn out for the Jamaica trials. Before we close with this interview from Melissa Jefferson, Coach Vaughn, where will the medals come from for Jamaica in Tokyo 2025?
It's hard to tell, especially when you haven't seen what happens at Team USA's trials. But I just off the bat, Kishane has looked really well all season. Very intentional on the meets that they've been running. So on the men's side, I definitely see that. I'm not sure about anything else in the 200 or the 400. The 4x4 barely qualified. I shouldn't say barely, but they did qualify. They got a qualifying spot from the Bahamas. The World Relays. They got a spot from the World Relays. That's where I see it on the men's side. On the women's side, I think the women's short sprints is still up for grabs, and I think Tina Clayton does have a foot in there. I won't look too much into how Sha'Carri, the defending champion, competed at the first meet, because her first meet for the season, 11.19, isn't bad at all. Keep that in mind. It's not a bad opening time for someone of that caliber. It's actually probably right where she needs to be. But the key thing is she doesn't have to race next week after next at the USA trials. So she doesn't have to rush the process. She can time the process.
You said she don't have to race.
She doesn't have to rush it.
Explain, because when you said race, we have persons watching, we have persons commenting. I know when you say race, what you mean.
Right.
Because,
so, for example, because she has the bye, she could still just use USA's Nationals as a preparatory meet. So her result there doesn't matter because she has the bye. So if she can go to that meet, run 2 rounds, and come out healthy with like a 11.10 or 11.05 or something like that, even 10.99, then she knows she has another meet in her to drop her time, and then it probably lines up perfectly for her to defend her title in September. It could be divine for her this season, but with Melissa Jefferson running as she's running, we'll have to see, because she ran in college so recently as 2023, so she's used to a long season. So we'll see how that plays out for Melissa Jefferson. So Tina Clayton, again, new on the scene, quote unquote, 2 years removed from high school, but she is still, the twins, one of the twins is still a formidable group, because they've ran sub 11, I believe, pretty much all season so far. And if Coach Francis, he's gonna wind up that battery and that doll, right before the meet, and let him go. That's what he's done with the likes of Shelley, the likes of Elaine, and anyone in between. So we could see it now with the Clayton sister. So on the women's side, definitely see that. In the 400, it's yet to be seen what Nikisha will do, leading the charge as the Jamaican team. The 4x4 women still yet to qualify, but if they do, I think they could squeeze a medal. But first they have to get in that qualifying spot. In the field, of course, Sha'Carri Richardson, that definitely is going to be a medal. Let's see who else in the field. I think that's where I'm at. But on the
Yeah,
men's
so
side in the
Kishane,
field,
Kishane, of course, looking at it now, and many things can change. But if we're going off with what we have in front of us now, Kishane seems to be the only medal contender, right? And then when you turn your attention to the field, you look
that's
Shanika Ricketts. And I'm still trying. And first of all, the men's relay team hasn't 4x1 hasn't qualified yet. The women's 4x4 that always, most times, 8 out
Always
of
in
10
there.
times give us a medal haven't qualified yet. But before we go that, because we have to run shortly, big up Virginia.
Yes.
Pleasant good night to all on this platform. Always supporting Virginia. Big up. Gaza. Good night, everybody. Good night. We try to read as much comment as possible, and that is why we are here, because we can't leave out our fans, or
Support
those
us,
persons who are following us. We could never do that. And as I said, we try to do as much as possible, so that is how we do it. But as I said, we are out of time, because we try not to make our show any longer than 1 hour, and we have almost up an hour and 20 minutes. But again, it was a good night. It was a good week for Caribbean track and field. We still hoping we'll see Shane Miller-Weber. We're still hoping we'll see the return of former 400-meter champion and Olympic gold medalist, Stephen Gardner. We're still hoping that Sherika will work her way back to what we know her. Remember at trials the other day in an interview, she said if someone had told her 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you had seen that, Blake was in the same race as Kishane. Thank you very much, Lataya. If somebody had told her 2 weeks before that she would have made the 100 team at trials, she would say it was a lie. And that justify what we are saying is that she is not at her absolute best now. But as I mentioned before, Melissa Jefferson Wooden beat Julien Alfred in that big 100-meter clash at Prefontaine last weekend. And that's where we'll end tonight. Coach Vaughn, thanks very much again for joining the program. And we'll do this all over again next week. And next week, Monday night, when we'll do this, you can look out for us every Monday night as we welcome you to Spotlight and Caribbean Track and Field, the weekly show that celebrates speed, strength, and spirit of Caribbean's finest athlete. As this region may be small in size, but it's massive on the world stage. And we had it just last year, where Julien Alfred of St. Lucia, Thea LaFond of Dominica, 2 women from 2 of the smallest islands in the Caribbean, made history, both won gold in the 100 meters and the triple jump. And I said it too, Jamaica, 96 medals at the Olympics, Trinidad and Tobago 19, Bahamas 16. This shows the power of the region. And on that note, we'll take the interview with Melissa Jefferson as we sign out and say have a good night. But do remember to join us again next week, Monday, 9 p.m. ET, when we do it all over again. Thank you very much.
I'm here with Melissa Jefferson Wooden, winner. Oh, you grab it. We'll start again. I'm here with Melissa Jefferson Wooden, winner of the 100 meters at the pre-classic 10.75. What was it? Headwind of 1.5, is that right? I mean, I mean, that's pretty close to your season's best. It's pretty close to how you've shown out this year. What is going on with Melissa Jefferson Wooden?
She's showing up every day for herself on the days where it's hard and just trying to stay focused on being disciplined and becoming a better athlete. So, it's paying off, and I'm happy to see that out here today, knowing that I'm going to come out here 3 weeks later and try to do the same thing and more.
I mean, consistently we know that this event in general is always going to be one where the U.S. shows up and shows out. How are you thinking about putting your name in that mix of the best of the very, very best in the world? We saw you in Paris last year on that podium, but now we're seeing the reemergence. It's not like you've never been here before, but this is like maybe the year of Melissa?
Oh, no, definitely. I've been saying it time and time again. Like, I'm here to stay. Like, the goal is just not to be in these races, is to go out there and compete and execute and dominate and win. So I feel like I've started off the year doing a pretty good job of that, and I'm just going to keep that train going.
Tell me what is different. Like, what do you think has kind of made the difference for you? Support structure, like what are the things that are kind of falling into place that is making this year even better than any year before?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me this year is that I'm learning how to become a professional track and field athlete and what all that entails, realizing that, yes, it's my journey and I'm my own boss, but it's up to me to be disciplined enough to stay true to what I want to be, to surround myself with people who's going to hold me to that standard that I hold myself, and just never trying not to slack. It's hard and it's easy to get complacent, but I know that if I want to be world champion this year, not only in the 1 and the 2, but I'm going to have to be able to bring that on a day-to-day, and I know that the people around me have done a really good job of making sure that I hold up my end of the bargain.
So you already said going through nationals, but like as you figure out, like you come off of your like last year, how do you set what those goals look like? How do you like take that time off and then refocus to the year ahead? Like, is that a personal thing that you go through, that you try to establish what I want for myself?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I look at last year as Paris, and I started off the year with injury, so it set me about 2 months back. But I said it yesterday in an interview. I think I was just like, I look at that girl in Paris in that 100-meter final, and hats off to Julien that day, because it was literally her race to lose. Like, I'm a real person when I say this. I know that every race isn't for me, and that race that day was definitely for her. But I know, looking at myself, that I had all the heart and just didn't have the strength. But I made lemonade out of the lemons that I did have. And so, knowing that this year my main focus was to make sure that I stay healthy, that I stay on top of my body, stay on top of eating right, doing the things that I know that's going to prevent injury. So staying on top of those things, and then just seeing how far a healthy Melissa can go.
I mean, tell me about the crowd today, being in front of them, grabbing that win in the field of this caliber. What does it feel like?
It's amazing. I've said it time and time again. I have had good times and bad times at Hayward Field. I'm happy that the sun was out, because normally when I come here it's raining and cold. So I'm like, anytime the sun is shining in Eugene, I know it's going to be a great day for me. But really, just to come out here and see all these amazing fans, I think it's almost sold out, or is sold out crowd. So, it's just so good to see all these people come from all over to come out here and support us, because we work so hard, and we, just want to come out here and put on a show. So I was happy that I was able to do that.
Congratulations.
Stay connected with Track Alerts TV by clicking that subscribe button and hitting the notification bell. You'll never miss a moment when we go live, and you'll always be the first to know when we post new and exciting content. But that's not all, folks. Show us some love by liking, commenting, and sharing our videos. Join our community of passionate sports enthusiasts, and let's support our favorite athletes together. So what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and become a part of the Track Alerts TV family today. It's time to take your love for track and field to the next level with the ultimate athletics experience.
Want reach? Advertise with trackalerts.com. More people are becoming satisfied advertisers building their brand online. We know it from start to finish. Trackalerts.com on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Contact us today at info@trackalerts.com or 876-893-4157.
Keep apace with the latest track and field news from Jamaica, across the Caribbean, and around the world. It's trackalerts.com. There is just no other. Up-to-the-minute details, expert views, reviews, and interviews in photos, videos, and features. Track Alerts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Track Alerts TV on YouTube. TrackAlerts.com. From start to finish.
Advertise on our live streaming on Track Alert's social media pages, which provides the most prominent online viewership from track and field meets in Jamaica. Your products will be seen by our large audience in Jamaica, the diaspora, and across the world. Book your spot in our live stream for a very small introductory fee. Call or text us at 876-893-4157 or email anthonyfoss@gmail.com. Trackalerts.com from start to finish.
10.29 seconds for Johan Blake. An impressive run.
Hosting a function or event? Want it to be streamed live on Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom? iView 365 can help you. We specialize in sporting events, stage shows, funerals, concerts, conferences, church services, graduations, and many more. Call or text us at 876-893-4157 or email anthonyfoss@gmail.com. That's ANTHONYFOS@gmail.com.